Focus is the most important skill to develop for your life. That is not something I tell you. This is something Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, and Alex Hormozi tell you. So I literally show you how to do it. And therefore I show you now how I went from literally procrastinating all day long to a 10, 11, 12 or even 13 hours per day focused work business owner. And by the way, I did this with actually no effort. So if you want to know how I did this, then keep watching this video. First of all, okay, the most important question we now have to ask ourselves is how do we measure our focus? Because it is pretty easy to measure things like money or clients generated or even loss of body fat. These metrics are pretty easy to measure, but focus isn't. And therefore I have two options how you can measure focus. One is actually with numbers and two is without. So let's get started. Okay, number one is basically this: focus plus time equals output. That means when you want to hit a goal, for example, you want to improve in client acquisition in your business, or you want to run a marathon within 6 months of practice, then you need to focus on the tasks you do, or you need to have focus hours on the task you do. This is the focus part, and you need to spend time to reach this goal. For example, to get this output, because it is basically cause and effect, you need to put stuff in, right? So if you want to run like Usain Bolt, you need the genetics like Usain Bolt, you need the dedication like Usain Bolt. That's it. And you need to practice like Usain Bolt. And Usain Bolt practiced with focus hours on his discipline. And he does it with focusing on the thing that matters and spending time on it. I hope that is reasonable. And then he gets the output, and that's the Olympia gold medal, the world record, and so on and so on. So, and now this is one way how you can actually measure your focus. It is by looking at how much your life increased over a short time span. For example, when you look back 1 month from today, which parts of your life increased or which parts decreased? And when you think they increase slow, then this might be because you focus is low or your time spent is low. So this is one metric you can measure, because when you now track your time, and you can do it by just simply tracking every action you do on a day, because time is the metric you can measure, then the one metric that helps you to get the output is focus. For example, you track your time now, 12 hours, but you have 2 hours focus. That means that you have bad output. And that means you need to increase your focus. I hope you understand it. So, but because this is actually very heavy, I have some gear, some tools for you. I spent thousands of dollars investing in health tools and neurology tools. And one of these tools is actually pretty cool. And that is this little boy. It's a Manny headband. But what actually is Manny? Well, Manny basically is a headband where you do a task one time a day. And this task is actually pretty simple. You try to get a ball up with your focus. So that means you focus on one specific thing, and therefore the headband realizes how much blood flows through your brain and how deeply focused you're actually on this one simple task. And therefore you now increase and increase and increase, and you can now take a look at your score by doing this activity every single day, and then you see if your focus capability is actually great. When I started using this headband, my focus was pretty bad, but now, so you can see in between 60 to 70, and now it's consistently between 85 and 90. So obviously ways to improve, but improvement very nice. And now you have something what you can measure. That means you can measure your focus by the output you generate in the things you want to focus most on by spending time and focusing. And you can now track your focus capability by using this headband. Pretty cool. So I will put the link in the description if you want to. So by the way, it's no affiliate link. I do not like this. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay, now we know how to measure this. But what do we actually need to do? What do we need to do to get from this a person who plays video games, who watches corn, who watches Instagram, Instagram or TikTok, to someone who works on his goal, obviously, or her goal. Okay, and here is the gap, and now I will show you my 8 steps to focus. Okay, step number 1. 45 minutes no distractions. First 45. That simply means after waking up, the one thing you do is not checking your phone, checking emails, watching newspaper, listening to music, turn on every single device that you can possibly think of that distracts your brain and that leads to bad cognitive function. No. We do one simple thing in the first 45 minutes of the day. We wake up, we go to our desk, and we work. And obviously, if you want to run a marathon, then you go running for the first 45 minutes. If you want to improve in chess, then you play chess for the first 45 minutes. If you want to write a book, then you write this book. Try this out for 30 days and you will reach your goal faster then you can. And if you're unsatisfied with your goal, well, then basically your goal isn't the right thing for you. Okay, so this is number one. Pretty easy. Try this out. And number two is basically the explanation for this. Because number two tells you the rule of steady curves. And steady curves literally means the following. We now have a variety of hormones and metrics in our body that tell us our physical mood and health and our mental mood and health. And for mental, it's basically hormones and or stress, and for physical, it's something like heart rate, blood pressure, you know, all the stuff, right? Okay, and the one thing we now want to try is we want to reach this curve. Slow and steady all day long. But now you might think, well, Justus, I do this, I have steady curves. Okay, let me prove this for you. Do you use social media? %95 of the people will tell me now, yes, then you actually failed. Social media will spike your dopamine. That's pretty basic example, very basic. And there are so much more things that increase or decrease your hormones or your heart rate or your body that your life looks like this year, like a roller coaster from hell to greatness. But let me tell you something. This year will not work. You will not feel good after doing this. You will, for example, okay, let me explain you why. This year is time. This year is, for example, hormones, right? Okay, you can't read this, but I. And here you ate sweets. And here you have your dopamine spike, here you feel like living, here you feel like greatness. And suddenly what now happens, what you might feel after eating some sweets or some tasty dessert that was obviously unhealthy, or even like a pizza. After that you feel like being in a coma, unable to do things. And do you think that when you do this for a few hours a day, that means when you have the spike, the drop, the spike, the drop, the spike, the drop, for example, for 3 times a day, 2 hours drop, that's 6 hours of drops, where you're unable or unproductive at working. On a normal workday for 12 hours, this means you only have 6 hours available now. And you will feel rubbish. Okay, and therefore, do everything that helps you creating this steady curve. Well, you might not have the spikes and you will not feel the sugar craving and the dopamine rush by having social media and all of this cool wow stuff. Well, but do you know what? When you want to do something you love, then you need to sacrifice things. I know you heard about this, but I tell you the one truth. This year will not help you. You never ever saw some high quality entrepreneur who is physically unhealthy. Look at Jeff Bezos, look at Mark Zuckerberg. They are healthy, even though they run multi-billion-dollar businesses. It is because they know that this year is real. So, do it too. But how do we actually create this steady curve to focus consistently over time. Because when you do not focus and when you do not be steady, how do you think that your business is steady? There is no business mistake or business issue. There is only the personal issue of the business owner, and this personal issue gets transformed to your business. So let's fix your health. And we do this by covering, yay, very boring topic, nutrition. Oh wow. Very boring, but very important. I can tell you something real quick. I will do something real quick. And after that, you will thank me forever. Nutrition. Simply, easy, cause and effect. That means what you put in, you get out. And the process is your gut. And you generate feedback, because when you eat things you feel rubbish about, you do not want to consume anymore. Well, that might be the reasonable thing, but why do you think there are people who consistently eat sugar and candies over time, even though they always know that they feel guilty afterwards? Well, that is basically because they are addicted. Well, cool. I know you can't read this. Now you can read it. They are addicted. You see this here. They are addicted. And how do we now stop addiction? By replacement. The only way to treat an addiction is by replacing it with another addiction. I know it might seem hard, but that's the truth. Someone who is addicted to nicotine is always addicted. Look at the people in the psychiatry who get detoxified from heavy drugs because they were addicted. Once they move to their old area where they have all their old environment with all the same stuff to do, what do you think will happen? Well, basically, because the addiction is in their brain, they stay addicted all over again. And that means we need to replace the addiction. And how do we replace the addiction? I will help you by this. Cut and add. Cut the addiction, cut the bad stuff, and add the goal stuff. That means when you now want to reach something and you have an addiction, you're actually in a great spot. So when you are now addicted to video games or addicted to drugs, alcohol, obviously that is not a good thing, but you can get help. There are some drugs, obviously. If you are heavy drugs, you need to go to a doctor. But if you are only addicted to video games or to sugar in a manual state, and I believe that a lot of people are addicted in a manual state, then you can replace it. So that means if you're addicted, for example, to sugar, remove all the sugar from your environment. Do this, and while doing this, focus on the thing you want to do. Get addicted to your work and your goals. That doesn't always has to be something with business. This can be something like being a better partner, or well, obviously addictive partnerships and relationships are, yes, pretty freaky, but I hope you get the point. This doesn't only have to do something with business. It can be a health activity goal. But get addictive in a good way. That's the only thing to do. If you do not trust me, well, basically try it out. Remove your sugar and replace nothing else in your environment. Well, what basically happens is you will get help for 4 to 5 days, or even for 2 or 3 weeks. But after that, you literally will be destroyed. And there we come to point number 4. Because point number 4 is pretty much the thing I mentioned here. Do you know why I hate the things social media tell you? These work ethic and motivational speeches and push harder, willpower and all of that. And discipline, you need to have discipline. Well, great. But how do I actually get it? Well, you just need to want it. Just do it. That is willpower. Do you think that when you just want to do something that it will happen? No. What is the one thing that influences your whole life and what will guarantee you success? Your environment. Why? Well, for example, look at royal families. Do you think that you or I, or maybe you are royal but I'm not a royal, do you think that one of us will get royal, or do you think that a member of the royal family, in the environment of the royal family, will get the next king or queen? Yeah, okay. And therefore we answered this question. It is all about your environment. When you're around successful people, you will get successful. You might heard this phrase more than me. But now, how do we guarantee you success in your environment? Therefore, we literally simply put environment into 4 categories. There is your social environment. That means the people you are around with. This is your social environment. So your family, your mother, your father, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your friends, your partners, your accountants, your co-workers, your video editor, your everyone around you. Well, that is the first one. The second one is the so-called physical environment. That means everything you perceive with your senses. That means everything you hear, everything you smell, everything you taste, everything you feel. And you do this by living your life. So when you have things that bother you and you see them every day, you listen to voices of your family who are not proud of you every single day, then, well, basically cut them off. No willpower will ever help you. All the great success stories will tell you that the biggest thing that changed their life was that they quit their current life and moved to another state, to another country, and actually killed their current self. Because if you are the person who can, why wouldn't you have the things you want now? You have the things because you are not the person who is capable of doing it right now. So change it and be the person. Yeah, this is the so-called physical. And then there is the inward environment, or the mental environment. We call it mental, right? And there is the spiritual. And those are kind of the same. The mental is so-called your mindset and all of your mental perception. So If you think you are rubbish, then obviously you are rubbish. So stop doing that. Never ever talk about yourself like your worst enemy. You love yourself, but you hate yourself at the same moment, and therefore stop talking about yourself. That's the only way you can do it. You hate your current self because you are unable, but saying that you hate yourself will kill yourself. So what's the logical consequence? Stop doing this. Stop talking about yourself. Keeping a positive mentality. Please do not do affirmations like, oh, I'm so good, I'm blessed, I'm this, I'm that. This might help you, but not for a long time. When you now face times of struggle, then you will go back into bad times, and it will not help you. It will really not help you. I tried it, and all of my clients tried it, and they all told me, well, Justus, yes, it might sound great, but it doesn't help you. The only way you can have a great mental state is by actually winning. This is the only way. You cannot do some things like fake it until you make it. You need to do it, and once you win, everything is easy. And the one thing that keeps you doing this stuff is the spiritual path. Human beings killed each other. Millions have been killed because of so-called faith. Christians, Muslims, and all of that stuff. Have something to pray for. Have something where you have faith in it. It does not need to be the Bible. It can be your own faith in something bigger. But have something, because that's the only thing that will help you in the bad times. So, good. That's the environment stuff. Now we have fixed our environment. Awesome. And we have great nutrition. What now? Well, do the distraction tracking. This is point number 5. Distraction tracker. This is a pretty easy, pretty useful tool, because now you want to change and you think, now I want to do everything. I want to cut down all my bad stuff and replace all my good things. And what now will happen is basically you will get distracted because your brain needs to rewire. And during this process you will feel obviously pain, because we are evolutionarily made for staying in a steady place. Because in the situation where you are right now, you are not dying, and that's all that matters for your brain. Think of this. But you do not want this. And therefore you have to fight against your brain or your physical body and fight with your soul. And by doing this you will get distracted, and you have this fight where you are sometimes better, that means you do the work, and your worst enemy, that's you too, will be better than you too. And we can make it real. But how do we actually now fight in a real way? Well, we basically track our distractions. For example, you now want to cut social media and you want to focus on things. First of all, delete social media, and then track every distraction by just simply drawing the simple lines every time you have a negative thought. And your goal now is, the only goal that's so bloody simple, is that you want to be better than yesterday. That means when you got distracted 24 times yesterday, then your goal for today is just simply getting below 24. And after 1 month, when you do it properly, you will have 0 distractions. So keep the process, track your distractions, and you will feel awesome back again. Okay, this is now okay. So let's go to number 6. And number 6 is now because you think, well, I want to focus on one thing, but I need to remove so much stuff. What do I need to do now? And I call my story, and I call this all in or nothing. And this has two sides. All in or nothing does mean that you want to go all in on your goal. That means you want to cut all the things that hinders you from reaching your goal. And when I mean everything, then I mean everything. Even though it does mean you need to cut friends, girlfriends, family members, everything that matters to you. You have one life, and please don't waste your life. Please don't do this. The second thing, all or nothing, means is that you please focus by focusing. Focus on one thing at once. So when you now want to start after doing this video, please do not change your environment, change your diet, change your nicotine addiction, change everything today. Change one thing until you did this, until you accomplish it, and after that you can continue. And then step by step you rewrite your brain, because it's then easier for this path. And after that you are good to go. So all in or nothing. And please do not multitask. Do every task at once. That means when you have a task, for example, outreach to 250 people today, do this, finish it, and then do the next task. Do this, please. Number 7 and 8 are actually little bonus tips. So now you are able to focus properly, easily, and without actually doing more. You play stuff and do the right things. But number 7 will help you to do the right thing and help you to realize what your actual right goal is. And this is by having a dedication. A dedication simply means that you need to be dedicated to the stuff you want to work on. So dedication means that you do not care what other people tell you. You do not care how long it takes, and you do not care how long, and you do not care how much time you need to spend on it. A day, a month, a year, 10 years. You just have this one goal. You will do everything besides. You will cut out everything besides of the things that will help you achieve the goal. And that is what so-called dedication. You will be able to work 9 hours every single day for 365 days on one simple, stupid, brutal task without getting tired of it. That is dedication. If you want to know how to get dedicated to something, well, then I will make a video for this. But first of all, be dedicated. Look at the thing you want to do that others think is weird. That's maybe one thing that you are dedicated with. Okay, and the last one is another tip, and that is what makes fun. What are the things that you enjoy other people don't? This can be some obscure stuff. For example, I love this gear. My girlfriend, for example, or my parents think this is funny and they laughed about this for a moment. But once they realized that I meant it for real, that my dedication and my fun was for real, then they stopped and they actually were proud of me. But it was a hard time, but I did not stop. I wasted every single penny I earned and I will still spend every single penny I earn on tech gear, on neurotech gear. Because I enjoy this, I love these things, and I think it's pretty cool and pretty new era. So do the things that are weird for others but fun for you. And then the focus is pretty easy. Think of video games. You only play video games for 14 hours a day because you have fun by playing it. So do things that are funny. And I know there are things that are not funny for you. For example, if you love your business, but you hate client jobs or client applications or outreach, then make this task as easy as possible. For example, if you now have to write SMS manually, 250 a day, then get in a cozy room, turn on the music, and make it fun besides of the work you need to do. It doesn't interrupt your workflow, and it will help you to do this thing with more fun. Well, and that's it. That's everything I have for you today. I will clear the board. I will draw my smiley back again. I will tell you, you need to enjoy your day, but you need to stay focused. This is important because you have one life, one day, one journey. And the best day to start was the day you were born, and the second best was today. So why do you not start today on the second best day? Do it with a smile, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers. Thanks for watching.